The Samsung Galaxy S21 series is probably best summed up by the stark contrast between the entry-level model and the highest-end Ultra version. These are two flagship smartphones that feel diametrically opposed but are within the same lineage. But let's delve in fully in our full review and overview of both of these incredibly interesting devices. Thanks for watching 9to5 Google here on YouTube. Remember to thumbs up, hit subscribe, and then tap the bell icon to be among the first to watch our upcoming videos. So while the Galaxy S21 has taken cues from the poor sales of the S20 series, the S21 Ultra simply fuses the note lines and doubles down on decadence. While that is important to note, both of these devices come with some notable downgrades in key areas, or at least important omissions. For the base Galaxy S21, those cuts involve removing the micro SD card slot, bringing down the maximum screen resolution to just 1080p, and bringing RAM down to 8GB, and then swapping out the glass back to plastic instead. Some may see these as bad things, but without excusing Samsung, we think the firm has made the right cuts here to bring the cost of this device down by $200 over the previous model and make it more enticing as a result. Like the Galaxy Note 20 and the Galaxy S20 FE from last year, the Galaxy S21 has a glass stick back which emulates glass but feels like plastic. While you can definitely tell that it is plastic, my colleague Ben assures me that it still feels rather nice to hold. The build is solid and sturdy, and the matte texture does a great job of hiding greasy fingerprints. Plus, plastic has that added benefit too of being less crack prone, despite it also being easier to scratch. It's also lighter, leaving the Galaxy S21 feeling a bit more comfortable in the hand and forgettable in the pocket. Samsung's top-end Ultra smartphone is, as you'd expect, a super premium device. It's crafted from glass and metal, and it has slim bezels on all sides, but then again, so was last year's S20 Ultra. So what's been improved this time around? Well, aside from the camera design improvements we see on the normal S21, the biggest news here is that Samsung ditched a glossy glass back entirely, going all in on a matte finish that just exudes class. The display is also Samsung's only 1440p panel in a flagship this year, and this time around it can be used at its full resolution alongside the full 120Hz refresh rate. It still ships with the software rendering everything at 1080p, and we'd have to say that we didn't notice much of a difference when switching to the full resolution. Still, it's nice that Samsung is no longer holding anything back from users in the display department. If you want the best display on the market, there's no denying that the S21 Ultra is that display. RAM is also not capped at 8GB, instead the base Ultra model comes with 12GB of RAM and can be up to 16GB. The biggest disappointment will be the lack of a micro SD card slot this time around though. Expandable storage simply does not exist in Samsung's 2021 lineup and roadmap for the year. Another notable is the removal of Samsung Pay MST on all models, which is arguably better than NFC as a wireless payment option. It's gone on the entire S21 series, something that is a complaint that we can actively support. We think from your position it's easier to discern which is the supposed premium device. Sure, it's annoying, but moving forward it's much more apparent which is the top-end model versus the entry-level model, something which Samsung's lineups have struggled to really clarify, with weird pricing and practically no major differences, at least in recent years. The refreshed design does breathe a little life into the Galaxy S21 series, which has regressed somewhat since the S10 series, or at least that's my own opinion. Even on the cheapest model, the attention to detail is still clear to see, and despite pricing and some material changes, it's clear that you are using a flagship device, no matter which handset you do end up opting for. Internal power remains relatively identical as well, meaning that the software experience of One UI 3.1 should provide no shocks, and you are not penalised for picking any device in the lineup. There are plenty of weird quirks and some actual downright disgusting aspects of this skin though. At no point should Samsung be advertising or notifying you of a new device in the software, and we do hope that this does stop in future. It's also worth noting that with One UI 3.1, the Galaxy S21 series comes with more Google developed applications as default than ever before. The One UI 3.1 home screen adopts the Google Discover feed for the first time on a Samsung device, while Google Messages is the default SMS app in some regions out there. Performance levels are a hair better than the Snapdragon 865 that is found in the Galaxy S20 series, Samsung has really gone in on the Exynos 2100 chipset though for global regions, and in terms of benchmarking it compares well, but if you must have the device with the best Geekbench score, then you may seriously want to consider or think about importing a North American model. That said, we don't think you will notice performance dips overall day to day. Of course, the Exynos versus Snapdragon debate will rage on, but it's important to note that the Exynos 2100 does provide a major step up from the Exynos 990 and should translate long term, although it's still far too early to say for certain if that will be the case over the next few years. The chipset inside will have a marked effect on the battery longevity, although our only current frame of reference is that of the North American version. In isolation, the 4000 mAh battery on the smaller S21 has the shortest lifespan. That isn't to say it's bad by any stretch of the imagination. It will withstand a heavy day of usage with no problems, while the Ultra can take a real beating without breaking a sweat thanks to the large 5000 mAh cell packed inside. Drop the display resolution down to Full HD Plus on the Ultra model and it lasts even longer still. Let's talk cameras though, as there are some core differences between the bottom and top end S21. The base model comes with a triple camera setup, while the Ultra includes a quad camera setup and much larger 108 megapixel sensor at its very heart. As a result, the natural bokeh from the larger sensor means that if you want the very best Samsung camera experience out there, then the S21 Ultra is the option for you. It's not, though, to say that the S21 doesn't pack a punch, because it has good but sometimes inconsistent camera results. A lot of the issues are down to the post-processing that Samsung leans heavily into. If you want a solid point and shoot, then you're bound to be happy no matter which one you choose, but if you want super zooming capabilities and all the bells and whistles of a modern camera system, then it has to be the Ultra or bust. Overall, the difference between the Galaxy S20 and the Galaxy S21 series is fairly clear. Samsung's 2020 flagships did not sell well at all, and it has undoubtedly influenced where the company went this time around. The most direct response was ditching the $1,000 entry starting price and cutting things by $200 across the board. Adding just how the smartphone market has changed over the past few years, and then factor in how unique 2020 has been, and you can understand the distinct separation between each model in the S21 lineup. So here's the crux of it. The Galaxy S21 isn't a phone for the fans or the enthusiasts, it's a phone for the average person who just want a good phone, with the S21 Plus giving you a glass back, larger display and battery. The Galaxy S21 Ultra is the all-out device, well, at least by Samsung's 2021 standards anyway, with most, if not all, of the bells and whistles intact. With that in mind, we think in Europe the S20 FE might be a better choice over the Galaxy S21 due to the Exynos 2100 chipset, although it isn't quite as far behind as some benchmarks would have you believe. But the S21 Ultra is a much easier recommendation in any region for those wanting one of the best Android smartphones on the market, period. With all of that said though, which is your pick and why? Or if you are looking at sticking with an older device, maybe you're looking elsewhere completely, be sure to let us know what you're looking at and why down in the comments section below. But until next time, this is Damien with 95Google saying thanks for watching, and I will speak to you later.